Memories. Something of my mind. Something coded memories of the way we were. Hi everybody. I tell you what, when you hear what I have to say today, check you. I don't need fucking star-spangled shades. These, by the way, I probably should Victor, my friend Victor online. Actually, my friend probably was 5 years old. I think I've known Victor. One of the kids I grew up with, actually the older brother of one of the girls who was in my class, and gay guy, I think, like some guy dressed in a little blue T-bar, basically a T-bar, and then had these shades on, which if you can. And by the way, just so I've commented on this, and I've drowned this, just so I've drowned this kid in the river. I feel like this microphone is not picking me up. How about this? I have two clips and one microphone. There's another microphone somewhere. One that goes with this clip even is. I'm just trying to sort of slowly. I really don't want to lead up to the really shitty show this is going to be, and it's not shitty because of low quality. It is shitty because a lot of shitty things are going on with my life. Very bad things are happening lately, and it's been a very rough couple of days. I'm not going to turn it on. I feel like if I want to be really quiet, just kind of talk normally, I can just do this. So please forgive me. I'm aware of how unshaven and greasy my hair is. There's actual medical reasons why. Okay, so like I'm actually not supposed to shower or bathe for another day or so. I think because I've had this port put in approximately here. It's a line directly into my circulatory system. So if I was ever like a heroin junkie, this would make administering heroin completely convenient. I've always said I was terrified of like the drugs that involve needles because I can't deal with needles. And I'm way bigger pussy than most people. Like everybody hates needles, but like I am. People, all the nurses, for instance, love to look at my veins. Want to see my veins? Whatever. Like, all right. I mean, I'm not going to show you anything bloody. I'm just going to show you these veins of mine really stick out very far. They're often described as hoses. Give me injections and stuff because they're big and they're prominent and they're right there on the surface. They can do stuff for me. So they're all really excited about how great my veins look, right? But years and years to be able to articulate this. But in every single one of these great veins that are so easy to access are lined with these high resolution nerve endings that receive, pain on a magnitude you can't imagine. Like, believe me, everybody says I'm too sensitive. Well, I think it's actually medically true. Just like even the slightest, even a little flu shot is agonizing, and it hurts for hours afterward. This is serious shit. And finally was able to kind of put together what it is that is. And unfortunately, even though I'm able to articulate it now, there's still nothing I can fucking do. So, like, great that I'm able to articulate my pain, but it doesn't do a damn thing for me being able to solve it. Just strap in, by the way. This is going to be a big, long pitch fest, and I have no place else to go with a lot of this stuff. There is a silver lining. I want to start off with that because some type good stuff is starting to happen on some small level. And some other random good things are actually happening too as a result of my recent, like, sort of, I guess, exposure or whatever. If you weren't aware, I called into the Dr. Fur podcast. Just because Dr. Drew has, kind of been a touchstone for me. I know in some ways he's very seriously just a media doctor, but I've listened to him for decades. Doctor, he's a real doctor, and I've listened to him for decades on the radio. Now, it's sort of like Dr. Dean Intel or whoever else you want to say. Like, I mean, I could have just as easily called into his podcast probably and told him my sad story and whatever. But I have a very emotional, like, long time, lifelong connection to Dr. Drew. One of the things that's weird about Loveline is when you're aware of the talk radio business, one of the talk radio shows that is consistently on the, like, talk radio magazines and sort of in the talk radio lexicon and discussion is Loveline. I think, I can't really explain why. It is most definitely a call-in talk show, though. It's just not on talk radio stations. It's mostly on rock music stations. Being 106.7 K-Rock. In LA. I don't want to get too far off the thing, but that happened today was in fact a thing that happened because I, called into Drew and told him my story. And actually, some people actually heard me and donated to my cause because Dr. Drew was kind enough to let me give out my little website. Now, I will say I'll pat myself on the back very briefly to say, hey, good on me for having a website. Phone number I can just give out at the drop of a hat, 1-844-SARCOMEDY or just sarcomedy.com, It kind of tells the story, I feel like, in a word, which is why I really was attached to sarcomedy.com the second I sort of blurted it out of my mouth, was because it's kind of clear. It's not like, what? It sort of relates the cancer thing in kind of an instant way without being too dark or gross about it. I'm sensitive to being gross and dark, about this because it's a very dark and morose topic, especially with what happened today. I'm going to stick to my rundown. I actually wrote down like 10 things to talk about. And the feedback I'm getting from you guys, by the way, is so enormously just valuable. Just know that every comment just makes me, overjoyed that anybody cared. You really do make a difference when you put a little comment. Although not the person who wrote the comment that says, hey, I know this comment looks like it was flagged as spam, but that's only because it contains a link. If you'll just watch this link, and it's like, yeah, okay, I know. Feeling like a scam. I went to all the work of, having this microphone. Like, why? It's because the battery is dying on my Clippy mic. That was one of the things I had on my agenda today to do. Did not get done. Was 9-volt batteries. I want to get some rechargeable 9-volt batteries because I am gobbling those motherfuckers up. Like I can't say. Between using this microphone for my English classes, which I do, here on the same camera, and then also using it for, this type of work. The mics get a lot of use, and I'm glad I have them. I'm glad I have multiple ones, so I can, have, if I really want to get crazy, I have a Madonna microphone, but you may have seen me wear this once or twice. It's not hooked up to anything now. The Madonna microphone, the stand-up comedy microphone, and then the, actually the Madonna or the Justin Bieber microphone, I believe. This just, is kind of the easiest because for one thing, the batteries this thing takes is just rechargeable AA's, which I have right here in abundance. Here I am talking about microphones. I have a million things to say. I just don't want to do any of it. I say that a lot on here too, don't I? Because, I'm just unshaven and unsexy and gross. My phone won't stop ringing. Seriously, I was out of commission for 1 day yesterday to have this port put in. And I had about 16 messages, appointments needing to be made still, forms needing to be filled out, people needing me to call them back. And today was the really rough day because today I got a medical bill. Now I have stage 4 sarcoma. I had the indigent health care for a while, the poor people's health care here in Arizona, which many people have sworn by. But the problem is my income went up because I've been trying to work. You know, I have self-esteem and I have, you know, pride, and I don't want to just be a bum. I don't want to be someone just sitting collecting Social Security. Now that line about just sitting there deteriorating was one of the things I wanted to say today. So there's ding number 1 right there as far as mission accomplished. In Star Trek Deep Space Nine, toward the end of the series, there is the race of people who are changelings, which I always fucking despised that term for the Odo's race. On Deep Space Nine, changelings. Shapeshifter always seemed like a lot more correct. But whatever. The race of the people who could change in the way that that liquidy digital, you know, basically the Terminator 2 technology, the digital sort of special effects, was what Odo's race was. And, you know, we look at it now and it's like, ugh. Do, and it was decent, you know. It's like the little morphing head shapes did look around, and it did appear to be actor Rene Auberjonois, but you know, it wasn't really good computer animation, in my opinion. It was better than before, but it was, you know, whatever. We look at it now and it's pretty silly. I'm trying to stay on track. Please do trust me that I'm trying to stay on track. The line from Star Trek Deep Space Nine was about this race of shapeshifters slash changelings who had this disease, right? Their little shape-shifting cellular material was getting scabs on it, you know, like it was deteriorating. And in fact, these people there was no cure for it, right? It was fatal to them. And one of like the leaders of this race was in this other room, and the line of Major Kira, I believe, was she just sits in there. All she does is sit there, deteriorating. I remember being struck by that somehow. Even then, in like 1990, what would it have been? Like it would have been like 99, 2000, something like that. All she does is sit there, deteriorating. You know, it has this mental image in my head of just a person just, you know, like a bowl of fruit with time-lapse photography, right? Just deteriorating, visibly deteriorating, you know. I don't know why. It's so sort of like crazy, you know, that particular line sticks in your head in the way that some other stuff doesn't. But yeah, that's kind of how I feel lately, as I'm just gonna sit here like a moldy orange in a time-lapse video of a bowl of fruit. Oof, there's a dark image for you. Holy shit. Another one. Let me just, you know, juxtapose that with this other really great dark image. You want to see what a medical bill looks like? A real medical bill? Some of the phrasing really is like meant to be extra clear. Some of it is related to my insurance. Some of it is not. But essentially, they're trying to put on this piece of paper that cut us a check for this amount right here, right now, as you're reading this piece of paper. Yes. Now, in a way, people have told me, you know, these numbers aren't really real. Because, like, when I first saw one of the medical bills when I was on the Arizona healthcare system, I saw one, and I think I talked about it here. It was like, you know, $50 or $75,000 or something like that. 50,000. No, I guess that may have been the estimate, right? Like, I think I estimated from that one that had been one of 5 that it was about $250,000 till that point. So I knew the kind of magnitude of the numbers I was in for, but when it's got your name on it as the person paying, it's a really different story. Ding. That's what I keep fucking having, right? No one will leave me alone, even though I've asked to be left alone, right? Even though I've just had fucking surgery. The people who, just, and they don't even feel like they're irritating. They don't even feel like they're bothering me. They're just trying to, just letting you know, trying to help. But I've asked to be left alone, and I can't be left alone. Like, there's something about it. Just me walking out of my room is a license for them to interrogate me. I'm talking about my parents. I try not to talk about it much here because I feel enormous shame about it. You're living with your parents, dude. That's pretty bad for a 40-something-year-old guy. George Costanza would have envied me. No, I think my situation is actually worse than George Costanza. Because my mom still nags at me about the laundry. In a way, I guess some people were going to tell me, oh, it's comforting, at least mom never changes, or, that's just such bullshit, though. Because I have such limited time left, and no one will, let me have any time to myself. I can't have shoes on and walk near a door in this house without being asked where I'm going and when I'll be back. They're patrolling, trying to catch me doing something untoward or improper or illegal. And the funny thing about that, the irony, is that the only thing I ever would have, been in trouble for 25, 35, 45 years ago would have been smoking pot in the house, right? That's the only thing I was ever interested in doing that was not acceptable. I never wanted to drink. I never wanted to, smoke cigarettes or any of that bullshit. So the fact that they're so fascinated with catching me when there's only one thing I'm interested in doing and I have a goddamn state doctor's license for it, it's just almost ironic to the point of hilarious, in a way. But even medical. Here I sit, unsexy and unshaven, on this video, and having a medical reason is not necessarily a license for it. I don't feel like that undoes it or makes it okay that I look like shit right now with this greasy hair and this unshaven. I really hate how I look unshaven. I don't like how I look when I have glasses on. There's nothing about how I am on this video right now that I like. Not a thing. And, whatever. Maybe I should have just called this unsexy and unshaven, but I did not actually get to the good part of this piece of paper. $34,962. $35,000, $100 less than $35,000. Now, one of them is this doxorubicin. It's the chemotherapy medicine. That's $20,370. That's a $20,000 bag of orange goo. I'm going to go into this thing that's in my right chest here, my port, which seems to be operating fine, by the way. It hurts like a motherfucker. It's like I have a straw sticking out of me, basically. But at least the other end of the straw goes to my circulatory system, so I don't have to have as many injections. I had a PET scan today, or so I thought. Now, I know the routine with a PET scan. They even called me and were talking to me about not eating before the scan. But I get there, and it's not a PET scan, it's a CT. Now, that still was okay. I'm looking at the silver linings here, folks, because when you get there for a PET scan, you haven't eaten for 8 hours. And then it's like, oh, you really kind of fasted for no reason, motherfucker. But at least I didn't have to wait. When you're going for a PET scan, you've not eaten for 8 hours, and then you have to go and get injected with dye and sit while the dye slowly takes effect for 45 minutes. So when I heard it was a CAT scan, I was actually like, woohoo! I actually get to go get the scan and get out of here and get some food. So there was a silver lining, right? Even though I fasted for no reason, because of the way it turned out, I was actually able to go get food sooner and alleviate my starvation sooner and move along with my day so I could get a $35,000 medical bill in my hands. if you're not aware of the medical insurance story, I kept working despite having cancer. And because I kept working, I made too much money. And now the state poor people insurance dropped me. It's like, you make too much money to have poor people insurance. You could pay for Obamacare. All right, well, guess what? The state healthcare covers all that shit. Just like that, without any person ever seeing a damn bill. And I don't know how much of this money is actually a bill that I'm going to have to be responsible for. But here's the question now, right? Because when I was so sort of destroyed by what happened today with this, her lady person at the oncology center put me in touch with some other person who can actually sort of, I guess, expedite my reapplication into the state system. So again, silver lining here, right? While I do have in my hand a $36,000 medical bill with my name on it, the upside is, well, I don't know how much of that I will have to pay. Probably more than I would like. But that, paradoxically, is going to allow me to get expedited so I can get back. I mean, for one thing, sometimes they ask you on these forms, do you have any medical, unpaid medical bills that you have not been able to deal with because of all the law? $36,000 worth. And that may also, so this is kind of as devastating as it was, and it was emotionally very difficult to fucking be told how this lady does it. She sits in an office all day saying, look, sick people, I want $34,000 from you. And how much of that will you be paying today? Right? That's kind of how it was. Fortunately, she's a little better at it than that. And she actually was like, do you think you'll be paying any of that today? And I was like, no, I don't. Every so often, I just have these kind of reality checks, just a reality alert, where it's just like, just trying as hard as you can. No one will give you a break. People think they're doing you all these favors on one hand, but then won't give you the simplest break on the other hand, because look at all these favors. Look, I'm doing all this for you, and you have the nerve, the rudeness to sit there and ask me to not bother you with a question. All it was a question. No nod to the fact that you asked me that question 25 times this morning. No nod to the fact that, of course, the answer can only be the same every single time. You're asking me a question, that's literally going to be the same every time. Piece of good news, though. The following shift you dropped has been picked up. All right, 6:15 is the date. Let me just look. When is that? Thursday. Sorry, actually, this has been my day lately, literally being interrupted by an email and then having to go deal with it because it relates to every single schedule item, whether it's a shift at work or a medical appointment or a procedure, has a 10-step domino effect that changing it will change 10 other things down the line. Thank God I'm really good with this Google Calendar because it's allowing me to really do some wonders. If you've ever seen my Google Calendar, you'd actually be impressed. I'd be like, I'm just going to double check which of my sort of assigned course. Yes, I've not taken any time off. That's the other thing. Literally, I had a report put in yesterday. I was up at 4 in the goddamn morning teaching kids in English, teaching kids in China English. And it's propped up here in this chair that hurts. All right, which one? 6:15 at 3 p.m. my time. I believe I already knew that was 6:15, 3 p.m. Yeah, I did know about that already. It's either 6:15. Oh no, it's 6:15. Okay. On camera, this is not an interesting thing to watch. And I am worried about being interesting to watch. The other thing is, all I'm worried about is the superficial shit. I'm worried about how greasy my hair looks on camera, unshaven face looks, and the fact that I'm covered in dog hair that you can't even see. I guess if I did this, you could see. But like, until I did that, you didn't even know I was dressed pretty nicely until I pointed out my dog hair. You want to hear something else funny that struck me today? Windows had to do an update, right? Windows had to do an update. Now, with the way I do my phone lines and stuff, I kind of need my computer open on and operating. If I have to reboot at a certain time, we'll take my phone offline, or at least make it harder for me to receive and respond to phone calls and text messages, because I do so much of that over my computer. It sounds perverse and bizarre, and I know 800 million people just heard me say that, and they're like, "Wait, what? Texting and that through the computer?" I actually do, and the reason is because it creates for me this experience where if I get a text message, phone, I'll see it on my watch that I'm not wearing. I'll see it in the corner of my computer screen. I'll see it in the computer in that room. I'll see it on my tablet. I'll see it on my MacBook. I'll see it. I think that's all of them. There may be another device that I've left out, but in other words, I've created this system where when I get a phone call or a text message, I kind of get blinged everywhere, right? And it's totally the point, And in one sense, after I'm gone, when I am dead and gone, I would like remembered about me that I actually, was delighted that I lived finally in an era when I could do that, right? When a phone call comes in and you don't have to kitchen, or the fact that text messages themselves exist is kind of a really, really new thing. But to be able to do that and see it anywhere in the house, no matter where I am, hurting from cancer, I don't have to get up, to respond or to do that. So it's a weird, wacky, perverse system that you would hate if you had to use your phone or text messages this way. But I actually use it a lot, extraordinarily, and it really brings me enormous joy in a weird way. And on one hand, it brings me, I guess I should say this, it brings me joy when I'm not being harassed all the time. When my phone is blowing up, and like seriously blowing up, it kind of sucks because it's like, oh, it's like when I was in Eyewitness News back as an intern, and I was like trying to answer 15,000 phone calls, and oh god. So the fact that the weird thing is, yeah, I have this great system to manage things. On the other hand, I'm not managing very well. It still sucks. I'm still way stressed out. People still won't give me a break. Some of it to voicemail. I can, fortunately, like people who, like the lady at the cancer center today, she can sense on how stressed out I was, and I'm like, there's phone numbers I need to write down and dates and appointments and shit, and then she's like, let me just text it to you. Angel's fucking saying, like, god damn, thank God I was able to receive just a text with that, Shit, will I have to still be paying in 30 years? I don't know. Will I still be alive in 30 years is the other side of that coin, and as dark as that other side is, it's one of the reasons I'm going to be able to go to sleep tonight. Is because there's a medical bill with my name on it, and guess what, bitches? I'm out before it's by. Now, every time I think about a death thought like that, I feel a whole bunch of things. I feel I need to apologize because there are people who love me who are really saddened by the deal with, for a moment, the fact that I'm going to be gone someday. Now, here's the other side of that. There are people who will say hallelujah. What was it? Somebody once said recently about me, they're like, you seem to have a unique way of telling people off. I was like, yes, I do. I do have a unique way of telling people off. And it's rather intense and vicious, I guess you would say. But like that was very, what's the joke, right? You're very kind. And you have a very unique way of telling people off, asshole. Yes, you're very kind. Thank you. No one's ever been nicer to me than that. How am I dealing with it? The answer is I don't know. I don't think I am. Like I just sort of am not. And here's the crazy thing. I could probably like medicate the crap out of myself. There's probably, heroin addicts who drooled because I put that on the screen. Like, I mean, I'm sorry if I'm triggering. Whatever. I really don't like your pills though. Like I wish I didn't have a need for them. They don't really help, so it's kind of like I'm not that worried about it because they don't help. So it's not like they do to me. the closest I've come, as had a couple of them in this past months, where I sort of wake up from the sleep that it puts you in. I'm sort of in the fuzziness of my little warm blanket on my bed, and kind of feeling just kind of, what is it? They always say it feels like you're in a cotton ball or like you're floating on a cloud or something like that. I guess that is kind of what I'm doing when I take these goddamn pills. Problem is, I just don't think that's that good. Fuck this cloud nonsense. Like, I have felt good, I have the occasion to be intoxicated and enjoy the euphoria. And that's not one of them. That's not for me. Now, I know I'm weird about that. Like, I don't enjoy the alcohol euphoria either. And the weird thing is that these opiates actually wire me. I take these opiate pills, and instead of like going to sleep, I'm like, and I'm like writing, and I'm like coming up with English games and stuff. I actually did a really great new game for my buddy Benny, my student. And I mean, when I say can't, in a way, it's like I can't. I'm unable. It's sort of like asking me to remove an arm or a leg. Just take the time off. Well, I actually can and should first, but like, I think as a kid, when I would stay home sick sometimes, I would get used to it. I would start to like it because I can watch the game shows. I'm off on my own. I'm by myself. God, I've underestimated how much I appreciate just room alone and not having to worry about someone fucking talking to you. Like, as much as I guess I'm just antisocial, but I'm seriously dreading that anybody has anything to fucking say to me. It's sort of like when there was a while when I was out in public when I knew, like, anybody who ever came up to me for any reason, who said anything to me for any reason, was someone I didn't want to talk to. Like, I automatically knew because they wanted to talk to me that I didn't want to talk to them. Right? Whether it was like, a homeless person asking me for money, or a boss bitching at me for some work-related reason, or a parent bitching at me just because they get off on that. Like, whenever someone had something to say to me, the one thing I'm sure about is that I didn't want to hear it. I have to listen to it, and when I have to respond, I know I can form a response. Like, if you have something to say to me, I automatically know I don't. And I guess there are some people who'd be like, "What a horrible way to live." But that did not bother me. Well, let's just reconsult the rant list here. $37,000 medical bill. Haven't been able to take time off of work as much on my own, responsibility as the fact that or whatever. Like, you have to submit a form in a certain amount of advance. And I mean, here's the thing: I have a few different times now, I've had all the legitimate medical reasons in the world and all the legitimate doctor's notes and stuff, and it still doesn't. The problem. I wish the problem were different. Other stuff that's going on is I have this best friend of mine who is in a really bad relationship right now, and it's fucking deteriorating around him. And he's a million miles away, and I can't help. It's just, stuff like when I fasted for no reason today. Every so often, you just have one of those days, right? Or seriously, just the act, or standing up, means I'm going to I'm going to catch a button, or I'm going to scrape my hand on a piece of sharp metal, or just moving, just like blinking or breathing causes something to happen bad today. Right? One of those days. Or seriously, I can't step out the door without someone fucking being on me about something. I can't have one day of. It's like I can't have a day away from my phone for the most urgent medical reasons. Like, unless I was having a heart attack, and even if I had a heart attack or open heart surgery or something like that, like, I can't imagine it being different from being in the hospital yesterday and having a million people going, "Where are you? Why the fuck won't you call me back? Like, where, we need to." And it's just like, fucking get away from me. You're harassing, you're interrogating, fucking stop. There's nothing you have to say that I want to fucking hear right now. And like, as horrid or, you know, rude, there are people I know who like don't say that. The don't say that people, right? Die. Or if I mention that there, you know, is probably going to be a fatal outcome, or you know, they don't want you to say that. They think that saying it or verbally acknowledging it somehow is going to make it happen. Don't say that. Don't talk like that. It's like, well, you know, I mean, I guess I get it in a way. It's not cool. It's not nice to listen to. But on one hand, if you want to be there for a person who's dying, like, let them be able to talk about dying, you know, and as shitty as that is, like, you know, what a gift that would be if one of the people who were the don't say that people would just let me say that, you know, and stop making it about what they think the world is like, or stop making it about them and start making it about, you know, listening to my needs. Do a U-turn, as Mickey Moore used to say. I have a therapist. Did I tell you I have a therapist? One of those ones from like the modern era, text everything. And you know, as much as I know, it's like, oh, this new modern existence we hate, right? Where we text our therapist, and you know, where we even have to have a therapist, but now we text them. And okay, you know, these people. It was like, what was it? I was on the train. Some old fucking lady, conservative old bitch, talking about how, you know, what is it? They shouldn't have cell phones in the Middle East because that's what made them riot during like the Arab Spring or whatever. And that's years ago now. Like, it's hard to. She was like, yeah, the fact that they had. And I'm sitting there in my mind. I'm overhearing this on the train. I think it was on the train to Seattle. And I'm like thinking to myself, really? Like, gotta go. Phone call. So this is a phone call I want. So thank you for being here. Dude, it was about time for me to stop anyway. So I'm gonna take this call. I'll talk to you on Wednesday.